Hey, Cy Blackburn here, and what I want to give you today is some content which, if you apply it, will totally shift how you're viewing your coaching business. Because most coaches, what they do is they get out there into the coaching world and they try to aim for everybody. They're life coaches, and so they aim for everybody with every kind of problem possible. Now, as far as taking your coaching and turning it into a formal, proper business, that's not the way to go. In fact, I'm sure you've heard this before, that we need to niche ourselves in order to succeed. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to define your niche. Because the biggest mistake that most coaches make is that they do not niche themselves. They just try to appeal to everybody. They do a mass market penetration style business, and they never appeal to any single demographic. And I want to define what a niche is. A niche is a particular demographic which you're not only targeting, but which you service. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, they look at the bigwigs. They look at the Tony Robbins, the Robin Sharmas, the Deepak Chopras, the John Demartinis of the world. And they say, well, these guys are not niching. Why do I have to niche? Aha. Well, here's the first big mistake. Is that these guys did niche right from the very start. In fact, they niched so well and they served that client base so well that they were able to expand out and conquer new territories and new niches to ultimately become what they are today. And in fact, many of you may not know that Tony Robbins started off with phobias. He was called the phobia guy. He got on national TV and cured somebody of her 20-year snake phobia. From that point, he started to expand out, and now he is the self-development guru as we know him today, Tony Robbins. So it's very important that what we need to do is we need to pinprick a hole in society. We need to prick a little hole of which we service and slowly edge that hole, make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until we're able to conquer other niches in our territory. But it all starts off with being very specific as to what we are targeting. Now, saying that, I want to introduce you to a character called James. So James is in his mid-30s. He's a smoker and he really wants to quit. And he's interested in hypnotherapy. He's heard of these hypnotherapists that are able to do magnificent things. And he's really interested. So James searches around and he finds two hypnotherapists. He finds John and he finds Jane. Now, James is one of their potential clients. Let me ask you guys. Which hypnotherapist do you think James goes for right now, John or Jane? Well, to be honest, I don't actually know. In this moment, there's no information to tell us otherwise. However, what if I told you that they're both hypnotherapists, both of them are very well accomplished. However, Jane is a quit smoking hypnotherapist. She specifically targets in the quit smoking arena. Now, let me ask you, which one does James choose? Well, the answer's obvious, isn't it? It's Jane. Because Jane is speaking to James's heartfelt desires and wants. Now, what if I tell you, though, that after who do they choose? John is a best-selling author. He works with all kinds of hypnotherapy problems, all kinds of addiction problems, and he's considered a leader in the industry. He's really one of these people, these almost guru-esque hypnotherapist. However, Jane, she's not famous. She works solely with smokers, and she has done for over a decade, and she has a great track record of getting them to quit. Great track record. Now, let me ask you, which one does James go for? Is it John or is it Jane? Think about this for a moment. Which one does he go for? Well, here's the deal. 7 out of 10 times, James is going to choose Jane, no matter how famous John was. And let me tell you why that is. Because Jane, she's so specific in the targets that she's so specific in the clients that she targets that when she's communicating with these clients, she communicates them in such a way, she communicates to them in such a way that really triggers their emotional center. It really gets them to take action. The one thing I want you to remember is that a buying client is somebody that has been triggered. It's somebody that is emotional. It is somebody that is passionate around what he believes he's going to get. And James, in this case, is a passionate smoker, which is why Jane, in her emails, in her website, in her whole magnificent marketing world, she has created things which really sit well with a smoker. Whereas John has not. John has all this credibility, but when he's pulling the trigger, he's firing out air. Because how can you make a hypnotherapist really trigger somebody's heartfelt desires, especially if John is an addiction hypnotherapist? Now, here's the thing. James doesn't think that he's an addict. He knows that he's addicted to smoking, but he's not a gambling addict. He doesn't take drugs on a regular basis, injecting heroin between his toes. James is just a smoker, and he just wants to quit. That's all James wants to do. Now, John, of course, can help him quit. However, James doesn't think he has that severe of a problem. However, when he looks at Jane, Jane is the one which really triggers him, because Jane speaks to exactly what's going on in James's life. She knows that James is not able to run a mile. Jane knows that James is stuck because all of his clothes stink and his dog and his children really complain about the smell. Now, can John communicate with James with that level of relationship? No. Because somebody that may take anabolic steroids, who's an addict to anabolic steroids, doesn't have those same problems. Somebody who's addicted to something like methamphetamines may not have the problem of not being able to run a mile. However, Jane does. And because of that, everything about Jane is gonna really hit James. So one thing I want you to really remember, guys, is that there is always competition in any coaching market. There always will be. There are so many different levels of competition. However, one thing I want you to really understand is that competition can be a good thing. Because competition actually gives us an indication of what people are currently purchasing, what kind of coaching they're currently buying. Now, of course, there is the mode of thought that competition, if you go into a realm without competition, there are going to be a whole bunch of people which haven't necessarily been serviced before in the coaching world, and they need to be. Well, of course, but think about how many coaches there are in the world. As far as Facebook says, there are over 15 million different self-development coaches and executive coaches. So competition gives us an indication as to what niche we need to target. It gives us an indication as to where are people's heartstrings really being pulled so that they take action and better their lives. Because if you're a hypnotherapist, it may not make any sense to really work with kids who want to become better at skateboarding, because that is not a niche which is actually buying coaching. That may not make any sense. So we've got to really find out, in terms of where our niche is, what is our competition within that niche and within our space, and what are we actually searching for? What are they actually searching for? Where is the demand? So later on in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to find that out. Exactly where to look, what statistics to look for, and what conclusions to come up with. But before I do, the one thing that we have to understand is it's quite easy to think that we know what our clients really need. And when we say to them, you need this, they're going to sign up with us. It's quite easy for us to think that, don't you agree? However, what's really difficult is to find out what the clients want. Niching is about speaking to what your clients want, not what they specifically need. Because here's the thing, what they need is diet and exercise. It's, it cures a whole lot of health problems, diet and exercise. However, what they want is some magical cure which will get them to really take action in their lives without any self-initiative. Now, here's the deal. If we go and before somebody signed up to our programs, say to them, listen, you fatty, get off the couch and do some exercise and put down the fork. Well, are they really going to respond to that? No, they're going to be offended. They're going to say, it's not my fault that I'm fat and obese and overweight. It was the TV, it was McDonald's, it was my wife who stressed me out last night. Remember, they want something. And that's what we've got to communicate with them. We've got to communicate with our clientele in such a way that triggers their emotions, triggers and pulls their heartstrings. Really remember that. And the way to do that is by speaking to what they want. What do they want? What do they think they want? Now, when they sign up to your coaching, I wholeheartedly recommend that you give them what they need in order to make that transformation for themselves. However, when getting them on board, there is a key distinct difference. We've got to give them what they want in order for them to listen to us, to come on board for our coaching programs. Are you getting this? Are you really understanding this? Because by getting them to listen to us, that is when the client signs up. Before they've listened to us, they are just don't have any attention. And what we want to do is we want to get one of the two most valuable assets in somebody's life. We want to gather their attention and we want to claim their loyalty. To do that, we have to make sure that we are speaking in a way where they are listening to us. I hope you understand what I mean. Because when you understand that, your coaching business is never the same. With sci-fi dating, when I first started out, God, I remember this. I remember this so painfully well. I was aiming for men and women. Little did I know that women think very differently than men on the concept of sexuality and dating. Very differently. Evidently, it's obvious now that I explain it to you, but back then, it was, Jesus, what a revelation that women and men think differently. Back then, no idea about that. But with sci-fi dating, what happened when I started is I was targeting both of them. And I thought that I could really get somebody to want the same thing. So my whole communication was being able to approach and attract anyone, anytime, anywhere. Now, here's the thing. Most women don't want to do that. They are very, very intimidated by seeing somebody that they like and approaching them. They want the easier way. They would want him to approach them. However, when I was communicating in such a way that you can approach and take control and get the results that you want to get by taking action, they wouldn't listen to me. Jesus, they wouldn't listen to me at all. Now, when I switched that communication from the top 10 flirting signals to get that guy to walk over to you, what do you think happened? And bear in mind, this is not an assumption which I'm about to tell you. We actually did this in a test. We tested this out to see how well they would respond to one of the two. Well, the top 10 flirting signals did 20 times better than the approach and attract anyone, anytime, anywhere. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? We've got to speak to what our clients really want. Only then will they listen to us and come to us. This is a distinction which I want you to remember throughout this program. The most important distinction in the program. And a prime example of this, which was so beautiful, right? So beautiful. And some of you may be familiar with this, but it's an author called Masaru Emoto, a scientist called Masaru Emoto. And what he did was he was experimenting around water. And he would take distilled water, say something to it, positive or negative. Maybe I love you, or maybe I hate you, you make me sick. And he did this with a lot of different variances, different languages. I love you, je n'aime pas, mon français, it's not very good, my French is not that good. But he would say in different languages, and the same thing with the negatives. And, excuse me. And what he would do was he would freeze this water and take a photo of the crystal, as you can see in front of you. And remarkably, what he found was that these crystals would form into a perfect shape when they were said something beautiful and positive. And they would form into something distinct and ugly when he would say something negative. Now, that's a revelation. What does that mean? He did this with music, with environments, with locations, and the results were the same. Thousands and thousands and thousands of results, not only with him, but many other people that repeated this experiment as well. Which shows that our energy is transferred around us. Our positivity, our negativity is given to other people around us in subtle ways which we have no idea about. And a prime, beautiful illustration of this is when I saw him on stage. He was speaking. Right, and he would walk on stage, didn't say a word. This, this short little Japanese man with glasses, big glasses. And he would lay out on the table, unravel a bunch of tuning forks. The kind of forks that they used to tune pianos, right? They would take one fork and he would smack it on the table. And the fork would start to vibrate and it would make a sound. It would be... Then he would take another fork and bring that fork close to the one which is vibrating. And as he brought it close, the other fork would vibrate as well in a different octave. Now that is such a phenomenal thought. Then he put them both down. He took up the same fork again, which he originally smacked, and he smacked it on the ground one more time. The fork started to vibrate. Then he brought up a different tuning fork to come close to this one. Now, there was no resonance. The other fork did not vibrate. Now, what a concept. what he said to this, he says that these folks are like people. When we sing, when we are powerful in the message that we give out into the world, other people, when they hear it, sing along with us. And they sing along with their own frequency and their own tune, which will attract other people, other tuning forks. However, when we are humming out a tune which is just not resonating with the world, no one will sing our song. Because our niche is our tribe, and our tribe will sing our song. We cannot appeal to everybody, but when we appeal to others, they sing along with us. Getting clients, once you understand this concept, and please do go through this video a few times because it is a distillation of many years of my own work, of my own understanding, and I don't expect you to get it right away, and if you do, well done, but do go through this video again. Once you understand this concept, getting clients from a niche will be infinitely easier. This will be the point at which you'll say, Sai, I couldn't believe it was so difficult before. It really isn't. This is the point at which that will come about with you once you create a niche. Define your niche. And we're going to go through the first action steps. The first one, define a niche. How do you define a niche? Well, there are two ways. The first way, which is the original Ultimate Facebook Funnel way, is plus or minus 10 years from your own age. So if I am 30, they would be between the ages of 20 and 40. They would have the same problems that you've already had. I want you guys to really understand this because this actually is one of my little things which I'm kind of going back on. This is when I tell you a little bit about becoming a great coach. When you coach people who have had the same problems as you, you're able to coach them very, very powerfully. When I coach men who were just stuck in places where they didn't have a choice of getting another girlfriend, then it was much more powerful than when I would coach women. It just was, because I'd been in that situation. I understood their problems. So ideally, your niche will have the same problems that you've had. Maybe you've quit smoking. Maybe you've overcome your fear of public speaking. But the most powerful coaches, the ones that really nail it, often give others what they've overcome themselves. And again, similar cultural backgrounds. Because here's the thing, right? Ethnically, I'm half Indian, half English. Actually, full Indian, but I was raised in a very English household. But if they have a similar cultural background to you, I'm able to also coach Indians as well as English, as well as Westerners, because that cultural background is very similar to where I've come from. So I want you to define several different niches that you can work with, which are round about your age, plus or minus 10 years, which have had similar problems to what you've had, and have a similar cultural background to you. I want to tell you an example of Amy. Now, when we started working with Amy, this was years ago now, she was just targeting American women. That was her target market. And what she did was she was bringing women together in order to share their stories and their wisdom to the world. Really, really beautiful, beautiful coaching concept which she had. And she was 42 years old. She had suffered childhood abuse herself. And she was obviously American. Now, after we started working with her, we ended up, instead of targeting just American women, we targeted people between the age of 30 and 50 who suffered childhood abuse themselves and were also American women. Now, from targeting American women to targeting people who'd suffered child abuse who were between the ages of 30 and 50 and American, how do you think she's going to communicate with that tribe? Very differently, because she has been a part of this niche. She's been a part of childhood abuse, so she's able to communicate with this audience far more powerfully than a mass gravity of audiences. I'm going to take my own example now with sci-fi dating. When I started off, I was targeting all ages, all men and women, and all sexual preferences, whether the person was gay, straight, lesbian, or asexual. That's how I was communicating. Now, can you imagine the emails and the messages and the landing pages and my Facebook page? How in the heck was I going to create this? How in the heck was I actually going to create something which powerfully triggers someone? Well, not really, because somebody who's gay thinks very, very differently from somebody who's straight. If I end up appealing at one demographic and excluding the other, or appealing at one demographic and trying to include the other, what's going to happen? You know, it's going to be a it's like when you were a kid in art school and you start finding out about mixing paints. You're like, oh, wow, you know, blue and red are purple. That's amazing. What if I put like 100 different colors in and it ends up some gloopy flavor of brown? That pretty much is how my communication ended up going on. Now, I was 22 at the time. This was a few years ago now. I was an English man, and the thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to have choice when I would date women. I mean, now I'm in a very committed relationship and very happy and have been for years. But at that time, I wanted to have an abundance, a choice of the women that I was dating. So afterwards, you can imagine, I was targeting people between the ages of 18 and 32, but really it was 20 and 32. Reason being is 18-year-olds haven't got into the workforce yet, and they have to ask their parents to pay for the coaching, which is not really the most effective way of running a coaching business when your clientele have to ask their parents. But after working this through, was aiming at the ages between 18 and 32, was aiming at men, and was aiming at people that wanted to date the women that they would choose. A powerful, distinct niche. Now, you remember earlier when I was talking about competition and really how competition validates what coaching niche we're in? Well, I'm going to teach you two ways right now. The first way is to actually find out what is currently selling in our coaching niches. And the second way is to actually find out the demand, the past demand, and as a result, the future demand of what people are really searching for on the internet. So the first method, I'm going to teach you how to use a website called ClickBank. This is going to be a revelation for some of you and quite familiar for others. But I think for most people in the Ultimate Facebook Funnel, this is going to blow you away. So I want you to follow along as we do this. So the first thing is go to ClickBank, and I want you to look for gravity ratings of 20 and above. And I'm going to explain that in a second. So as you can see, we're just on ClickBank right now. One thing you've got to understand about ClickBank is it's an affiliate network. And what that means is that it is a network of people that promote out products. So ClickBank holds a whole bunch of information products, the products which you're about to create. And what it does is it provides a marketplace where people can promote those products and make a commission. But the brilliant thing about ClickBank, guys, is that it gives us a very strong indication, in fact, an exact figure of how well a particular product and category is selling. Now just boil that down for a moment and really think about it. We have figures here, not only assumptions, figures on how well a product is selling. We have already validated demand without going out into the marketplace and assuming demand by just going to ClickBank. So, first things you've got to do is if you don't have an account on ClickBank, go up to the sign up button here and sign up yourself as a vendor on ClickBank. Now, if you haven't done that, just pause the video right now and sign yourself up. If you have done that, let's move on. So you just want to log into your account. Now we'll be at the main menu, which is coming our way. Now in this main menu, you may see something like this, you may see something different, but the thing that will be common are the tabs on the top. What we want to do is we want to go to Marketplace. The Marketplace is where they're listed all the products that are in every category available. So now that we're at the Marketplace, what we want to focus on, let's just introduce yourselves to it, right? These are just a few little tidbits here, but the things you got to pay attention to are the categories, right, which gives us a good indication. So you can see health and fitness, and as we expand the categories, we're seeing specific niches within their health and fitness. But you got to understand, this is a category, these are brackets, a niche is within these brackets. Men's health is a bracket. What about men's health? Is it going to teach them how to overcome a prostate issue? Is it going to teach them how to get a six-pack? We got to find out. So what I want you to do first of all is really look through the categories. Could be on spirituality, new age, and alternative beliefs. It could be self-help. And what you want to do is you want to really find out where your niches lie. Now, what category they lie in. If you can't find them, just go to the top and type in here. So I could be typing in dating, but I won't do that right now. Let's go back. So let me just go here for a moment. So let's just find dating. Okay. So just going to look down the categories. We'll see if we're going to find dating. Okay. So let's see what we got here. It's most likely going to be in self-help. And I don't want it to load up. Dating guides. All right, great. Is there anything else that's there? Marriage and relationships. All right. Okay, anything else? Nope, that's pretty much it. All right, so let's go for dating guides and let's go for marriage and relationships. All right. So now what it will do is it will list out a whole bunch of products in that particular bracket. What we want to do is we want to go here where it says sort results by. And what we want to do is we want to click and sort it by gravity. Now what that does, the gravity number here, if you can see, right, we can see the top one, the Tao Badass, which is 160. Now the gravity is going to be a great indication of how well a product is selling. The higher the gravity number effectively means the more sales that product has gotten. So the Tao of Badass seems to be doing phenomenally well. In fact, it's getting 160 in the gravity. Now as we go down, we're going to see a whole bunch of different products here. And what we want to pay attention to is we want to really pay attention to the gravity. Now, when we look at a particular category or a particular niche, what we're looking for is whether a whole bunch of products in that niche are achieving gravity levels of 20 and above. Now, you can see the top one is 162. Now, that's been going for a long time. Again, 134, 95, 64. And if the first page is all above 20, you have a winner in a category. So you can see the first page here, everything is all above 20. So we've selected a winner. Now, let me just type in a different category, right? That category could be hypnotherapy. Now we'll just wait for it to process the request. And then what we want to do is sort by gravity. Okay. Now we got to look again, look very carefully. Is this relevant to your particular niche, right? So I typed in hypnotherapy, and this is tinnitus cure product. Now that's not necessarily very relevant to me. This next one is ultimate conversational hypnosis. Okay, gravity 28. Okay, we're doing all right. Power of conversational hypnosis. So you see two things here, all about conversational hypnosis. 24. Interesting how they're both the same. Now we go down a little bit more. See if there's anything more. Joe Fatale, Law of Attraction. Not necessarily that relevant. Now, as you can see, we've only found two things that are above 20 in the gravity rating. Now, that is pretty valuable, actually, because what it's showing us is that hypnosis is not necessarily doing very well, but it is when it comes to conversational hypnosis. So it's giving us a niche there. Our niche being not hypnosis, but conversational hypnosis. Do you see what I mean? Because I'm seeing a whole bunch of them to do with conversational hypnosis do really, really well. Now let's go up and let's check relationships. Now again, sort results by gravity. Now we'll just give it a moment. Okay, great. So now get your X back. Interesting. A gravity of 145. What men secretly want? Obviously something aimed at women. 106. Making up of your ex. Text the romance back. Are you seeing something very interesting here? It's all about getting the passion back. Text your ex back. The magic of making up. Get your ex back. Text the romance back. Earn major cash and text the romance back. Let's keep going. Get your ex back again for men and women. Let's go down. The X Factor Guide. Are you getting your ex back again? So you're seeing something here. Interestingly, the highest converting products in this particular category of relationships and marriage are all about getting your ex back. So right then we know that a niche within that relationship which is doing powerfully well is getting your ex back. So there we have unequivocal evidence that not the marriage and relationship bracket is doing well, but the specific niche within that bracket of getting your ex back is doing really, really well. That way we can approach that niche powerfully. Okay, so now what we've got to do is we've got to actually find out what people are searching for. Google gives us access to their search data. We can see what is currently triggering people. Because in a search engine, people seldom type in what they need. What do they type in? They type in what they want. You know, if you type in lose weight versus lose weight fast, what do you think is going to get a better search result? Lose weight fast, even though in all likelihood it's actually quite difficult without some tremendous willpower to do that. So now we're going to go through Google and I'm going to teach you how to find out what the demand of your niche has been and what it will be in the future. So right now you can see that we're on Google, and we're on Google AdWords Planner. What we're looking for in Google AdWords Planner is we're having a good indication of what the demand is for a particular niche. Now this is a double verification. Obviously ClickBank gives us a great idea on what's selling, but the Google AdWords Keywords Planner gives us a great indication of the demand within that niche. So we just got to sign in. So we'll just click sign in, and then it'll ask you to log in with your Google account. So if you don't have a Google account yet, do get one. It's going to be very valuable for you. And if you do have a Google account yet, all you have to do is give it a moment and it will give you the option to sign in. Okay, now because I'm already logged in at @MySci-Fi, my private email address, don't share it with anyone, we have a screen which looks like this. What we want to do first of all is we want to go to search for new keyword and ad group ideas. Now what Google is going to give us, and let me tell you this for a moment, it's going to give us its search traffic, which means it's actually going to tell us what is currently doing really well on Google AdWords. So, and not only currently what's doing really well, but what has previously done well and for how long it's done really well. So right now we're getting Google's data as to what people are searching for. Remember what we said in a previous video, 2A, give people what they want? They're typing in what they want right here. So we're getting a great indication of what they want, how to phrase it, and also whether it's worth pursuing because of the search traffic on it. So we want to go and click search for new keyword. So I'm going to type in, let's say, dating again. And now we'll scroll down, and what you want to do is you want to see if all the targeting is what you want, which is fine. And then just click get ideas. Now what we want to do here is not ad group ideas, but we want to click on keyword ideas. Now, let me just explain everything down to you. Average monthly searches. What it's showing you here is the average of all of the monthly searches. So here it's 74,000 people a month search for dating. And as you can see here, it's remained pretty stable since February last year. This bar graph is showing you all of the different searches over the time period of a year. It's pretty much been 74,000 except for December where it got a little bit lower. And February where it got higher. Think about it for a moment. Why is it in February the search term dating got higher? Valentine's Day. Interesting to see that. And it got lower December, maybe because of Christmas. Maybe because people were focused on the family. But other than that, it's doing pretty well. Next thing here, competition. What this is showing you is it's showing you how competitive the advertising space is, which means how many people are you competing with in order to show your ad. If the competition is high, then that's a great indication that there's money to be made in the niche. Because put it this way, are you going to spend money on ads? If you're a professional ad agency, are you going to spend money on ads when you know there's no money coming back to you in return? Absolutely not. You're only going to spend money on what you know is going to deliver a return on investment. So when it's saying competition high, that means a lot of very smart people have done all the research in that particular niche, and it's verified that it's a profitable niche, meaning that you're able to sell products to this niche and gain a large profit from it. Next one, suggested bid. This will give you the suggested bid in whatever currency that you've chosen. For some reason, mine is in the Venezuelan currency, whatever that may be. No idea why that is. So these are three that you need to bear in mind. Now, my search term dating averaged 74,000 hits, and it's averaged that for over a year now. So that's a good indication that's a strong niche. Competition is high, even better indication that my niche is doing really, really well because people are searching for it, and they have been searching for it for a long time. So let's go down to other suggested keywords, because right here, it gives you the term that you search for, which I search for dating. So we'll go down a little bit and let's find something relevant to me. Okay, nothing yet, nothing yet. Okay, we'll go down to the next keyword. Let's go up. Dating agencies, interesting. So what we're really looking for here is firstly for relevant keywords, right? And also the average search volume really needs to be above 2,000 to 3,000 a month for it to be worth it. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to write in. So right now what you see it's given me is it's giving me dating sites. That's not what I want. I want dating tutorials. So dating coaching. Or not dating coaching. Let's say how to approach a woman. Let's get ideas now. All right, how to approach a woman. Now, okay, that was a little bit low. Okay, let's type in something even more specific. How to get a date. And we'll just leave it for a moment. Okay, interesting. So we've had a search low of a little bit low. I'm not too happy with that. But it's maintained its stability over time. Ideally, again, you're looking for anything between 2,000 and 3,000 and above. But you can see right here, the pattern is showing very true. February is higher. And then everything else is stable. So we'll just see excuses to get out of a date. Funny one. All right, let's go down a little bit. How to get a date with a guy, with a girl. How to meet girls. Okay, this is more relevant to me. Competition is high. And let's see the search traffic. Oh, it's above 2,000. But it's good competition, which means those 2,000 people are very valuable. So let's have a look over time. All right, it seems to have held itself pretty well. All right, so let's just move on a little bit further. How to get a date worth keeping. You gotta love that one. How to find love. Interesting. This is what people are searching for. The competition is medium as well, which means you're not necessarily paying as much in this ad space. However, there may not be that much profitability there. So let's have a look at the search traffic. So you can see here, it's held itself well over time. So what we want to do is we want to type in our keyword idea, whatever that keyword may be, and really spend like 20 minutes to half an hour going through a different range of keywords. Then what you got to do is go through the average searches and the competition to really see how that niche has been doing. And again, first date here, it's giving us a good indication. Monthly search bracket of 14,000. And you can see there's been jumps in July around the summertime. And you see it's rising up in July as well and lowering down as you get into winter. Interesting. So what we want to do is we want to verify that by looking at the average monthly searches and the competition. So now, a few more action steps. The first thing, define your niche. Now, define 3 or 4 different niches which you could go with, right? And then really look, once you've defined those and after you've gone through all of the action steps in the program, really work through what is the most powerful for you. But next thing, verify the demand with ClickBank. And the third thing, verify the demand with Google. Do a double verification. Put that niche into ClickBank, put that niche into Google once you've defined them. Once you find several different niches with a double stamp, meaning that they won on the ClickBank test, i.e. they have a gravity rating of 20 and above, and they won on a Google test, which means that their competition was medium to high and they had search views of searching terms of 2,000 to 3,000 and above on a monthly basis, then you put a double approved stamp on them, which means well done, ClickBank won, Google won. This is a powerful, guaranteed, established niche. Guys, it's been a pleasure training today, and I'm so excited to go into the real meat of the content from now on. This is the most fundamental part. There are a few more fundamental sessions, but most of the Ultimate Facebook Funnel, you'll be glad to know, is action-based. So go through this again if you need to. Defining your niche, it's going to be very, very important. And I'm going to see you in the next module.